takes us to the salt zone. This is where we're going to expend our gripes. We're going to get rid of them. We're going to, now we can still have things to say that will be sort of a critique nature going forward, but this is where we're going to get rid of all of the venom, all of the salt, all of the, emotion that is attached sort of to things, and move on with it so that we can, for the rest of the show, give you just sort of objective news, talk about the, community, talk about just sort of fun stuff without having any shit weighing us down. So I'm going to kick it off. I'm only going to add one thing to the salt zone this week, and then I'm going to let it go completely. I promise. All right. This week, in Super Cruise News 38 on Tuesday, our community manager stated, "Hey man, we hear you that you want more open news, more direct addressing of the news and the information side of things. You want us, the community management team, to do what we've last week promised repeatedly to do, which is do a better job of giving you direct news. As a result, we feel like the best way to give you better direct news is to do the news half as often. So right now, as we have it stands, the status quo ante is that we do one stream a week or 2 every 2 weeks of news, and one stream a week or 2 every 2 weeks of fuck off, we're just going to play the game, do CQC, play the game badly, ignore your chat, and just demonstrate that here's what would happen if you hand the controller to someone that has no clue what they're doing. And they've decided, in order to honor their promise to us to do a better job of really communicating with us, that the best way to do that is to switch to one piece of news every 2 weeks and 3 absolute waste of our time streams. Here is them explaining it as only a used car salesman can.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah, Super Cruise News. Yeah, so we haven't talked about this much yet, guys, but as part of this transition towards slightly more open communication, we realized that in some weeks, say there's an update going on or something big in game is happening, Super Cruise News will be more sort of game information dense, and then there'll be lighter weeks, sort of like this one where, okay, the update, we're sort of between updates at the moment, where we had patch 4 last week, and then we've got update 5 coming next week. But that makes us kind of light on stuff. Okay, we've got community bits we can share, which is great. We love doing that, and we'll continue doing that. But it does mean, yeah, we are game information light this week. And sort of with that in mind, following the monthly dev stream, which is due on Thursday next week, we're thinking of actually making Super Cruise News fortnightly, and something we're going to try out. So what that's going to allow us to do is have more time to collect in-depth and detailed game news information whilst also celebrating the community. And then also every other week we'll have a bit more time for playing the game and the lighter stuff. But hopefully that will satisfy the wants and desires of everyone who is just here for strict, I want to know what's happening in the game, and also people who come here for the other stuff as well.
Yeah, that is the plan.
Okay, so that's the exact moment that my very last fuck left the building. I decided at that moment that we will continue to cover Elite Dangerous, the game. I love the game. We will continue to cover the community. I love the community. Frontier Developments, you can go fuck yourself. I am so over this shit. So I guess people that want to sit there for 2 hours plus of a couple of people playing the game really badly, knock yourself out. And if they say anything useful, you tell me, because I no longer give a fuck about covering Frontier developments. I'll cover Elite. I'll cover the community. I am not covering Frontier developments anymore as of this moment. And I just want to stay very clearly for the record, because, and I'm going to leave it, I swear to Christ, I'm going to leave. Oh, wait. I'm sorry, guy who is very religious who said, please don't swear to Christ. I swear on my word, I'm going to leave the salt behind after this section when we close it. I think a lot of people who are white knights for Frontier, and probably Frontier the company, will actually be very happy and relieved to know I'm no longer going to argue with absolute sort of conviction and yell and rant and rave and beg and plead and cajole and embarrass you to try to get you to act right. I've given up. You clearly don't know how to act right. So it's just a situation at this point for me of I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to dispassionately just sort of comment on things as they come. And I just want you to know, Frontier, everybody else, don't listen to this. This is just a private message from me to Frontier. It may seem like I'm not mad at you anymore. It may seem like I'm not disappointed. I just want you personally to know, as an entity, that's not the case. It's just I've given up. You clearly aren't worth it. If you don't give a fuck how you treat your game and are willing to piss your IP down the drain, why should I care anymore? I give up. You win. Have fun. All right. Having said that, I am now relinquishing all of my salt, and from henceforth, I will critique. I will put out little stuff, but I will not attach emotion to it. And so it's going to appear very much like I'm much more happy with Elite, because I've decided to separate my feelings of Elite Dangerous, the game, which I love, to Frontier, the company, which I am disgusted by to the extent that I want to vomit. Tweaked, you have a comment.
Yeah, their words. With a news stream every week, we're having trouble filling it. So by doing it once every 2 weeks, we'll have more news. It'll be a more packed show. Are you kidding me? Are you really honestly joking me right now? With the community on fire, with the game struggling the way it is, you can't sit down on a Tuesday stream or a Thursday stream or even whatever day you want and talk to us like adults about what's going on with this game right now. There is plenty to talk about, plenty to come to us and say, we know there's a problem. We know we're in crisis. What can we do? Let's talk about it. No, they're going to pretend nothing's wrong. We're just going to keep on going along our day, along our life, like there's no problem at all. I can't let this go. I can't separate the emotion from it, because what they're doing is they're killing my favorite game. I want to be able to play Elite Dangerous for another 5 to 10 years minimum. And at this rate, with the way they're handling things, I don't see that happening anymore. And it's breaking my heart. It's killing me watching them do this to the game that I have loved for so long now. I don't understand where they're coming from. I don't understand how they think this is good business operations. It seems like every decision they've made since the release of Odyssey, if not before, has been the wrong decision, flat out. And they have not shown any signs of turning this around. It's maddening. It's absolutely frustrating.
Oh God, am I drunk? Tweet, you were at the place where I was before I watched that Super Cruise news. Now, Frontier is just somebody that I used to know. Commander Katie Byrne, you have a comment.
So they don't have the news to fill the shows. Just show us just show us what a developer is working on. I'm sure people would be interested to see that. It would be a bit of transparency. I worry, because in all aspects of Frontier, communication, we get this kind of wall of we just wait and see. It's the same with large events. You see, for example, we had in the AX community like a year without Thargoid incursion, and there were commanders pulling their hair out over the fact there was none of the what is the best part of Thargoid content in the game. And when it finally returned, it happened completely without warning. There was no there were commanders we know who had been waiting a year for that to happen and were on holiday at that time because there was no way for them to know. And I feel like it's time to bring the iron curtain down and let people see inside a little bit. People will be far more forgiving, and people will be interested as well, even if they're working on something relatively mundane. Just to see that would be, I think, kind of interesting and add something, because as you've pointed out before, Kai, and as other developers do with their streams, playing the game poorly is not good content. But showing someone working on something and explaining what they're doing, that makes for a good stream. That makes for an informative, a confidence-boosting stream.
100%. Could not agree more. The situation is such that, like, look, Frontier, you were at 11 to 15,000 players concurrence on average daily before Odyssey dropped. You're now below 8,000. You were trading on April 29th at 30, what is it, 33, 34, 25, 32, 20, whatever. You were trading at 3,300 average, just whatever. You can Google it. Look that shit up. I'm drunk. Per day, Great British Pounds on April 29th. And then that's when you announced, hey, we're going to go ahead and do 4 or 5 weeks of alpha, partial alpha, not even full alpha, no beta, YOLO, release 2 weeks later, clearly not having any fucking plan on doing this right. Your stock has plummeted down by a third. You have lost hundreds of millions of pounds or dollars, however you want to measure that shit. A third of the total value of your company. Massive numbers of your player base are leaving, are moving on to other games. The vast majority of your content creators have become either A, variety streamers of covering other things in general, or B, just quit and left, a la The Pilot. You are putting out patches with what you tout as hundreds of advancements or bug fixes or whatever, and you don't cover that. You literally you acknowledged 2-3 weeks ago, your lead guy, Art, said, hey man, words are meaningless. We're going to earn it. We're going to do better. We're going to give you more information. And then this. You're literally like, hey, how about half the news? And 3/4 of the time, we're going to waste your time with a bullshit Let's Play while we suck at CQC, hope that somebody carries us, and ignore the chat. Seriously? This is what you consider doing better? Okay. I've no more fucks to give. I'm going to play other games. I will still play Elite sometimes, but that's it. You've lost my love. Let's see. SIRRUF is up, then Tweaked. Go.
Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna start from an anecdote. I once went to another country on holiday, and I met one guy from another country. He was actually from Netherlands, and I was in Portugal. Basically, what he was doing was he said he's a farmer, and he travels the Europe just to check how people do farming around Europe in different countries to cherry pick basically best ideas about farming to do better when he goes back home. So you have so many examples of how to do good community management and to speak to your community, to show what you're working on, to show how you are improving stuff. like you both said, they could be showing us things like why is something not working, what are we gonna do about it, or if there is something that they cannot fix, they can well, they don't have to go into specifics, you know, but they can still tell us why they cannot do, at least vaguely, why they cannot do something we want to see in Elite. So yes, I was hoping that when they said that they're gonna be better at community management, at communication, I was literally waiting for that kind of thing to happen. And they could have you know, just checked other companies how they do their community management. They could have just go around and see which developers are the most loved by their communities and just take examples of them, you know. That's what I would do if I was them. I would just look around and see what works, take the best ideas from everywhere I can, and then implement them to my own work. And it seems that well, they went their old usual route, I'm afraid.
Let me go ahead and do a better job of community management than Frontier has for the last, I don't know, year, and just let everybody know right now who's listening to the stream or later on, you know, video on demand, that No Man's Sky is on sale right now for 50% off on Steam. So go get that for 50% off and enjoy a game that actually does stuff. Tweaked.
Yeah, for me, I mean, you said you've given your last thought. You're out, and I'm not far behind you, I fear. I honestly haven't played Elite in a full week now, and that's the longest break I've ever taken since I started playing this game. I've been busy playing some other things. Next Thursday's stream, they said that they're having a developer on Thursday's stream. That to me is going to make or break. I feel like when the straw that broke the camel's back for me was the no ship interiors, the no crossplay, the no VR, the no guarantees of new content in Odyssey, no guarantees of anything coming down the road other than there's stuff coming, we promise. That's all we've gotten. And the hope diminished, and that's when I stopped playing. I don't like feeling like I'm wasting my time playing in the dead game. So to me, Thursday is going to be a make or break, and I doubt they do, but I hope they realize how vital Thursday is.
Absolutely. All right, let's close that out and move on to the next topic, which is Roy's. Roy, take over.
Yeah, I'll keep this short. I'm about a month into my Elite vacation, and just, you know, is Planet Tech fixed yet? Because I'm missing exploring, but other than that, yeah, I'm doing good. Playing some other games. So,
are you really missing exploring? Because I heard from a little birdie that you were having some fun jumping balls deep into No Man's Sky.
and Star Citizen, but you know, there's aspects of when I was on expedition, sort of the peace and quiet of exploring and finding cool stuff, and yeah, I feel like that's sort of been taken away, and I'll check back in on it once and see when Planet Tech is quote unquote fixed, and but I think I spent my emotion on it last week and the week before, so I'm cool, I'm good.
I got you, brother.
Just not playing it.
I got you. All right, the third and last thing. Tweak's got something to add to that. Go.
Well, I got something to add in general, just a random thing that one of my OPIX members brought up to me today. Since we're patching Odyssey and you're going to keep working on it to make it great when you do finally get it to us on console, how about we make it so he took a mission in OPIX space. The mission was to restore power at a base owned by OPIX. So he went down, he restored the power, which in turn he started getting attacked by OPIX NPCs. What sense does that make? Where's the immersion in that? Can we fix those things too? I mean, it just seems like every aspect of this is messed up. Planet Tech, things like that, everything is a mess right now. Let's get it right.
All right, the third and last topic on the show notes. for the Salt Zone comes from Commander Katie Byrne. We're going to be talking about the grind a little bit in the discussion topic, but I want to give her the opportunity to clear her chest on this one. Go.
I will try not to go into too many specifics, just because, as you say, we're going to talk about it in more detail later. But I really think that Frontier need to reevaluate the essence of what the focus of the game is, because they've got so many home runs in the game. Like I said, with AX Combat, with other areas, the PvP community, with tuning and with racing and all these other areas. There are so many areas of the game that are home runs, but they seem to be fixated on the idea that the game is unlocking things. And to me, this feels like a lack of confidence that people are unlocking those things for a reason. Now, I know with Odyssey, there is no content beyond that, but in the base game, in the space-based gameplay, and I'm going to use AX as an example just because that's what we know. The progression in AX is not like unlocking a ship is the inconvenience at the start of AX, and then the progression is as you work your way up through the interceptors and work your way up through fighting multiple Thargoids, and it's very rewarding. It's nothing to do with actually we'll talk about the material side of it later on, but the accessibility of these things because of the grind as well is really, really challenging to bring people into the game. I play other games, so I play Armor a lot. I recently, a couple of weeks ago, had a bunch of friends from Armor who wanted to get into Elite and wanted to join us in what we do at SKUNKWORKS. And it's very difficult to recommend the game to them, because in order to start doing what we do, they first got to go through unlocking engineers and unlocking the Guardians and then gathering the materials and then building up a ship. And Frontier will tell you that is the game, but there are people who will watch my videos, for example, who want to get into the game purely to do one specific activity, and the barrier to entry way too high. I understand that once upon a time, the game was meant to be a very specific kind of, blaze your own trail style with nothing journey through the galaxy. But things evolve, things change. As SIRRUF mentioned earlier, there is a whole sport side of AX that is very difficult to do because of the way RNG works in the game. But we would love more of it. We would love to have easier access to these things. I think Frontier need to start emphasizing the fun aspects of the game and start really, really, really kind of rowing back on the parts of the game that are no fun and take a lot of time to do. But we'll go into more specifics later. I just wanted to get that off my chest.
No, absolutely. I get it. So Roy last week suggested we need to get like a vault sound effect for the closing of the Salt Zone. I'm promising you now, we're closing the Salt Zone for this episode. Or I am. I can't promise what other people do. I don't control them, but I can promise what I will do. And I didn't bother to get a sound effect yet for the thing, but the sound effect for this week's closing of the Salt Zone is a bottle of 6 and 25 grain bourbon whiskey hitting the recycle bin, and we're leaving that behind, and we're jumping now into actually wait, hold on a second. Does anyone have anything else to add to the end of the Salt Zone? I'm not digging that bottle out of the recycling bin, so just anything?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I guess I'll chip in. So it seems like when FDev built the game, and they've kind of stuck to this mindset that like the grind is the content, but the grind is what's in the way of the content. Like if I want to do AX with a new ship, I gotta go out and I gotta get mats, I gotta run around to the engineers to make the tool I want to use to access the content that I want. And I was hoping that when Odyssey came out, they would like realize that like, okay, there's a better way to do this. But instead, when Odyssey came out, they doubled down on the grind for all the on-foot stuff. And now it's like, I just flew around in Apex shuttles looking for guns and armor that had already been upgraded because it was way faster than just upgrading the stuff I already owned, just because of the insanity of the grind. I just wish that they would like realize that people aren't playing for the grind. The grind is just an obstacle that stops you from getting to the gameplay that you want.
Well said. And closing out this topic will be Commander SIRRUF on UI. Go.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, probably best place to expand on the UI. What I think about the current UI in Odyssey is it was not made by anyone who has ever played the game for longer than 50 or 100 hours. And if they did play it longer, it was a developer who probably received or a tester who received a build from a developer. They don't realize how we actually play the game, what you have to go through when you play the game on a daily basis, when you have hundreds of or thousands of hours. The way that the UI was designed was not designed for the activities of an average veteran player. And it's baffling to me because you have so many posts on forums. You have so many content creators who put their input on YouTube and wherever, who have so many great ideas. Someone mentioned that on live radio podcast that it looks like they just put all of our feedback and just fired it up. Never ever read it or listened to it. For some reason, players know what they want. Developers don't ever listen to what we want to see in UI and generally in Elite. Yeah,
Very well said.
maybe I'll stop here because I don't want to turn this into a dumpster fire.
No, I get it, man. I get it 100%. So with that, I mean, yeah, it's a situation. Clearly, you're right. All of the feedback we gave them throughout the alpha process and what have you, they just threw it all in the fucking bucket and lit it on fire. And okay, that's a way to go. If you really want to say goodbye to your player base, have fun with that. With that, guys, the sound effect that you heard like a minute ago of me chucking a bottle of now empty bourbon into the recycling bin, that's just replay that in your head right now. Okay, we're on to the next section and we're leaving the salt behind.